Hello guys, Sam Mark here with a review of the April 20th, 2015 edition of Monday Night Raw, which took place in Albany, New York. This was the go-home show to Extreme Rules, and if I had any word to describe this Raw, it's boring. Boring. This was probably one of the most boring Raws I have ever seen in recent memory. My God. I tried my hardest not to fall asleep throughout the entire show, knowing that I had to do a review the next day. If you chose to skip this Raw, then I envy you. So why was this Raw so boring? Let's take a look at the entire card and find out. Today's opening promo was given by not the Authority, but Randy Orton. Guess so far so good. He said that Seth Rollins is one dumb bastard and that he doesn't need the RKO to win that match, and he wants Seth Rollins to have a slow and agonizing defeat. Then Seth Rollins came out and interrupted Randy Orton, and both of them started to talk. It was at this point in the show that I started to zone out. I'm already like 6 or 7 minutes into the show, and I'm already zoning out because I already know that this promo exchange between both of them is unnecessary and it isn't going to accomplish anything. So Randy Orton basically at the end of the promo said that he's going to go to the back and RKO every son of a bitch out there, and then he's going to RKO Rollins at the end of the night. There was only one good side to this entire promo. That this was a boring 15-minute promo instead of a boring 30-minute promo given by the Authority. That's it. Boring, by the way, is the theme of this entire show. Next up was Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose. Both of them had a fun brawl. They brawled into the crowd, and then after that, they brawled into the stage. Luke Harper teased of giving Dean Ambrose a powerbomb off the stage, which made me gasp for a bit because I know that Dean Ambrose is a crazy SOB that would allow himself to be powerbombed off the stage, and it wouldn't have been pleasant if that would happen. This was overall good. The only problem is it was a little too short, and secondly, the ending. Dean Ambrose had Luke Harper clearly in his sights. They weren't even like 10 feet away from each other out when they were in the stage, and Luke Harper just walks to the back with Dean Ambrose clearly saw where he went. He just moved 2 steps, and then his music started to play. If you were so mad at the guy, why didn't you go after him? I thought you were going to brawl to the backstage. That made him look like an idiot. Well, the plus side is that Extreme Rules, we're going to get a Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose Chicago street fight match, which I fully predict is going to steal the show because both guys are completely awesome at what they do and are still underutilized, like a majority of the roster out there. So that was the plus side. Overall, it was a fun brawl. Then we got the Seth Rollins backstage segment, the one of many on this show, and basically he was just being paranoid, walking around all scared and nervous until Titus O'Neil sneaks up behind him and does his bark, which I kind of laughed at. And just him getting mocked by everyone until Triple H comes and talks to Seth Rollins, basically telling him that there's no issue going on, there's no sweat, he's the champ, he shouldn't have to worry about anything. Triple H really wasn't acting like a heel on this show for some reason. He was just regular businessman Triple H, just trying to encourage his champion Seth Rollins. So that was a quick little segment we had. Next up was the Lucha Dragons against the New Day, where the winner meets Tyson Kidd and Cesaro for the WWE Tag Team Championship at Extreme Rules. To me, this was the match of the night, and probably the only non-boring thing of the entire show next to the Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler match. It was a very fun back and forth match. Both of them tried to get their chance going with the New Day sucks. They didn't seem very happy about that. Lucha Dragon tried to go for the Lucha chants. By the way, I don't know if it was the TV or if it was just me, but this crowd sucked tonight because I didn't really see any enthusiasm throughout the entire show. But judging by the way the show turned out, I really don't blame them. I probably would have been sitting on my hands too. Or I probably would have just went home because this wasn't even worth my time anyway. So they had a very fun match back and forth. Kalisto is awesome. We all know he's going to be a big hit once he becomes a single star. Whether or not he becomes a world champion like Rey Mysterio, I don't ever see that happening. It was a complete miracle that Rey Mysterio even sniffed the world title, let alone win it. Even in less vocal crowds, the New Day still gets his New Day sucks chant, which is officially slowly going into their heel turn. The New Day wins via countout with an assist by Xavier Woods. Basically, both Sin Cara and Kalisto did a moonsault dive on Big E and Kofi Kingston, and all members of each respective team were knocked out of the ring, and the referee was counting to 10. And right before Sin Cara was going into the ring, Xavier Woods hops out from under the ring and grabs his legs and keeps him there for Kofi Kingston to make it before the count of 10. Thus making the New Day the number 1 contenders for the Tag Team Championship, which I have absolutely no problem with because I was actually kind of afraid you were going to make Kalisto and Sin Cara the number 1 contenders and go off to win the Tag Team Championships. No. way too soon. The fans will go against them if that happens. It's fine. They're good. They're going to be tag team championships eventually. It's inevitable. But the New Day's number one contenders, and this heel turn is slowly starting to keep me interested. You know, it's a shame when the New Day is one of the few interesting things in the entire show. Because you know what's going on with the New Day? They're getting character development? Wow, that's something that doesn't really happen. While the New Day was celebrating their victory, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere and delivers an RKO to Xavier Woods. And then after that, Kofi botched an RKO at Randy Orton. The good side about this is that Randy Orton didn't lose his shit when Kofi Kingston botched the RKO this time. Looks like Randy's getting soft. So they did it again, and just expect that to be in our next Botchamania video. Big E then teased to go in there and save his buddies and to brawl with Randy Orton, but he eventually backed out very cowardly, very heel-like as well. And I'm really digging what they're doing with the New Day. They went from being one of the most boring and cheesiest tag teams to one of the more interesting ones. The tag team division is actually getting some momentum because Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E are all very talented and very underutilized, along with Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, and the Lucha Dragons. And with Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, that should be coming up soon because there's no business why they're down there anyway. This is going to be a bright future for the tag team division. Even though 2 years ago, back in 2013, when Goldust and Cody Rhodes first won the tag team championships, they had a plethora of tag teams. And during Cody Rhodes and Goldust's first tag team reign, they were actually stealing the show every night with all the tag teams they had available to us. But because things are going by so good, the WWE has to come and mess it up. And eventually they broke up all of those tag teams with the exception of the Usos. Curtis Axel then next gets squashed by Fandango in a very, very quick match. Fandango is a babyface now and is trying to get everyone to start Fandangoing. It didn't really look good in this crowd because, like I said before, this crowd really wasn't that enthusiastic about the show. I don't blame them. Fandango this should all wear out in just a couple of weeks. This whole Fandangoing craze maybe would be over in Chicago, but then anywhere else it's not really going to go over. I hope it does because I really want Fandango to succeed because I really do think he's better than what he's being received. I don't see him as a main eventer, but a solid mid-card guy is where he deserves to be. But he doesn't deserve to be squashed like every day like he was doing before. But if they're going to put Fandango in a more prominent role, I really hope that he changes his finisher. I mean, Hulk Hogan got 8 back surgeries, all because of a leg drop, and this guy is doing a leg drop off the top rope. Yeah, that kind of worries me a little bit. So I recommend Fandango, for his long-term health, to change up his finishing move. I mean, the blackout's getting banned. You better off just banning that move too. Look at Hulk Hogan. The guy had 8 back surgeries, and he did one of the most gentlest, most non-painful looking leg drops I've ever seen. Triple H then comes out to discuss Tough Enough. Basically, if you've seen that YouTube video that Triple H was in discussing Tough Enough, then you practically already saw it. So there's really nothing to talk about here. He basically just repeated everything he said. So carrying on. Then Corporate Kane comes out to confront Triple H about what's been going on. And he tried to give Triple H his 2 weeks absence because he refuses to work with someone as disrespectful as Seth Rollins. Hell, if I was working for Triple H and I was looking like that, I would too. Seth Rollins then comes out, and then him and Kane start bickering. The line of the night is when Kane yelled at Seth Rollins and said, "We did everything to make you champion. Hell, if we wanted to, we can make El Torito champion." Hey, man, El Torito's one hell of a wrestler, man. I wouldn't mind him being champion at all. Probably bring some more entertaining matches than what's going on right now. Triple H then proceeds to give in Kane the job as being the gatekeeper of the steel cage matches. If anyone wants to go to the steel cage, you have to go through him first. I really don't remember much about this segment because, like all the other 30 segments, I dozed off and I didn't care because I knew that nothing important was going to come out of it. So nothing left to talk about here. Let's just carry on. Now we got Divas action. It was Brie Bella against the newly heel Naomi. It turns out that Paige will not be competing at Extreme Rules because of her injury. She is out indefinitely until doctor's orders. Basically, she's out filming a movie. So that's why she's not going to be appearing at Extreme Rules. Nikki Bella was on commentary while watching her sister compete against Naomi. Before we get to the match, I just got to get this off my chest. Nikki Bella was awful on commentary. My God, was she bad. She just couldn't shut up. She couldn't decide whether she was a heel or a face. I didn't know what she was either. Is she a heel? Is she a face? Naomi's a heel. Are they going to have a heel against heel match at Extreme Rules? Or is she just a face all of a sudden? She was horrible. She kept screaming out, "Come on, Brie!" That was so annoying. It's bad enough we got 3 Stooges over there that can't do their job right. Now we got another person there. Like, my God, she's bad. I'm swearing, I'm praying for Naomi to win that belt just so Nikki Bella can just get off commentary forever. I'm hoping that this is Nikki's last reign as Divas Champion because she hasn't done anything. She hasn't brought anything to the table. And you got all those people saying, what, but the Bellas have improved and all. Yeah, they've improved, but have people forgotten how bad they used to be before? They were worse. They couldn't even compete in a match for them live. People mock Eva Marie. People forgot how the Bellas used to work back in the day. Brie and Naomi actually went on to have a pretty solid match. The best Divas match in the last 2 weeks because for the past 2 weeks, you've been getting very sloppy, botch-fested Divas matches. And this is another thing. Her sister, Brie, is having better matches than Nikki, our Divas champion. Because she also had a match with Paige the other day, a couple of weeks back on SmackDown. And that match is actually pretty damn good. And whenever Nikki had a match with Paige, those matches are sloppy. They're botch fest. And I know it's also Paige's fault to an extent, but how come Brie is busting out better matches than the champion herself? So I just wanted to let that out there. I just hope, and I'm counting down the days, that Naomi finally ends this title reign. Because Naomi is actually becoming a very interesting character. Her character is basically the character of most people that talk about wrestling on their podcast or YouTube. All she's doing is questioning the bad booking of the WWE. Talking about how matches don't count anymore, how this is ridiculous, it blows her mind. Yep, sounds pretty true. She sounds like most podcasters out there now. And most people talking about WWE. So I predict within a couple of weeks after that heel turn, she's going to be a babyface because she's questioning the terrible booking of the WWE. And I hope she gets a chance as Divas Champion because she deserves it. Her character's getting more interesting, and she's a pretty damn good worker herself. And I'm praying, and I'm just praying, that neither of the Bellas ever get the belt back again. 2-time Divas Champion for each of them is fine enough for us. All they're just proving is why they do not deserve to be the top divas in the company. They can keep their total divas, they can keep all that, they're doing well for themselves like that, but as for being top divas, they are not cut out for it. You don't even need to be a good talker because it's not like WWE goes out of their way to book divas feuds. You need to be at least a decent worker. A decent worker is good enough because we all know the divas don't get a chance to show their mic skills. So if you're a decent worker and you're okay on the mic, then that's fine because it's just a divas division. The WWE could care less. But Nikki is barely passable on the mic and it's not that good. I mean, she's better, but she was terrible before, so she went from terrible to being just bad. She's bad in the ring, and they ain't doing anything for me. Nothing against both Bellas. I like their improvement. I like how they work hard, but they really need to get the belt off of them. Next up, we get a John Cena we get a Roman Reigns promo. He kept it short and sweet this time because it wasn't like last week where you could literally go do a side-by-side comparison of his promo and John Cena's promo and practically get the same exact delivery. But in the middle of his promo, he's calling out Big Show, Joy, another Big Show Roman Reigns match. And the one to come out is Bo Dallas and not the Big Show. Bo Dallas basically comes out and calls Roman Reigns the Tim Tebow of WWE. I popped huge for that. And he called him a failure and all that other stuff. Typical Bo Dallas shtick. And I found it pretty funny because I am personally a big fan of Bo Dallas, and I really wish, I don't want him to be a main eventer or anything, but at least keep him at the Intercontinental level because he can do it. I mean, he was the longest reigning NXT champion at the time, and he was doing pretty good. So all you gotta do is give him a chance. It's not like there was anything wrong with the character, and people seem to enjoy it. In mid-speech, Roman Reigns comes out and Superman punches Bo Dallas, and the people after that start to boo. When you're a babyface and getting booed for knocking out Bo Dallas, then you really need to reevaluate your character. That's all I have to say. Eventually, he just comes out, the yada yada yada, believe that, typical Roman Reigns stuff. Or if you don't know what typical Roman Reigns stuff, just imagine John Cena. And with the word believe that at the end of every sentence. As you could probably tell, I'm not really a big fan of the Roman Reigns character. Roman Reigns, the worker, I'm starting to get more interested in, but as a character himself, I really have no interest in seeing him at all. Can you just imagine if he would have actually won the World Heavyweight Champion from Brock Lesnar? How worse the show would have been? How instead of a chicken shit heel Seth Rollins covering up most of the show, we got basically a Samoan Cena running the place? It would be a complete nightmare. And at least they're smart enough to do that. I mean, but the only thing they're not smart enough to do is that they booked a Big Show versus Roman Reigns match in Chicago. I got an Extreme Rules predictions video coming up tomorrow, so I'll talk more about it in depth over there. So, moving on. Next up, we got Sheamus against Zack Ryder. Yes, Zack Ryder actually got to wrestle today on Raw, but unfortunately, it was another squash. Sheamus was practically toying with Zack Ryder and talking at the same time. He was beating the crap out of him and cutting a promo at the same time. This goes to show you how strong Zack Ryder is being portrayed. This was very depressing because I actually like Zack Ryder. And for all those people for the past couple weeks that have been saying, oh, Neville has been being buried because he lost 2 times. If you want an example of someone who's been completely buried, just look at the sad saga of Zack Ryder, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Dolph Ziggler eventually comes out for the save and delivers a zigzag to Sheamus. And at Extreme Rules, it's going to be Sheamus against Dolph Ziggler in a Kiss Me Arse match. And in case you had no idea what I just said, it's a Kiss My Ass match. I have no idea how they're going to do it because WWE's PG now. I highly doubt that we're going to see Sheamus drop down his pants and we're going to see his bare white ass out in front of everybody like Vince McMahon did. So, I'm interested, or really not interested, in seeing how they pull it off. Next, we got another John Cena US Open Challenge, and unfortunately, I was actually looking forward to this because for the past couple of weeks, John Cena has been pulling out some pretty damn good matches on Raw with this Open Challenge gimmick. And who to come out? A newcomer? Nope. An NXT debut? Nope. A good underutilized mid-carder? Nope. Out comes Kane. And then we got to see a John Cena versus Kane match. It was at this time where I just lost it. I was just losing complete interest. I was falling asleep. So, in order to keep myself from falling asleep, I took this match off and decided to just play Dragon Ball Xenoverse again. And just do a mission or two. There's really nothing much to talk about. I didn't really see this match, but I'm assuming it's just a basic Kane and John Cena match. Carrying on. We got Damian Mizdow with Summer Rae against The Miz, and the winner wins the rights to the Miz brand. This was just a match. It's like Zack Ryder. It's depressing to see what's going on with Damian Mizdow. He's just hit rock bottom. I mean, he's still pretty over, but nowhere near on the caliber he was just a couple of weeks ago. He completely messed this up. From Big Show winning the Battle Royal and giving away these matches for free, and the bad timing of Miz going out to film a movie, it's just been rock bottom for Miz now, and I predict him to be completely dead and back to the way things were as soon as this whole rivalry is over, which I think this is now, because Miz is going out to film his movie. It was a basic match, nothing very special. Both Miz and Mizdow are not, outstanding in the ring. I mean, did good enough, but not capable enough to give Renless a damn good match. And eventually, Summer Rae betrays Damian Mizdow for some reason. I mean, come on. She's only been with him for like a week or two, and now he's already betraying him? That's Vince Russo booking. If WWE starts using Vince Russo tactics and trying to swerve every chance they get, then I'm just going to give up all hope on this show. After that match, Miz comes out to celebrate with Summer Rae, and our Randy Orton just appears out of nowhere to RKO him. Mizdow is dead after this. I don't care what happens. I mean, if he stays over even after all of this, I will be very, very surprised. He'll probably be over if he has a match, or if he even appears at Extreme Rules, because it's in Chicago. But other than that, I just feel bad for the guy. After Randy Orton's RKO to The Miz, I expect Miz to be off television for a while because he too has to film this movie with Paige. So both of them will be out for a little bit. Not really going to miss him that much. But overall, this whole run with the Hollywood Miz gimmick has been pretty successful. I mean, he became IC champion like twice. And once as a tag team champion. Miz, people don't give Miz enough credit for what he does. I mean, he's not main eventer status, but when he does his shtick and he's told what to do, he always delivers in some way, shape, or form. That's why I kind of like The Miz. I'm kind of a big fan of The Miz. Another person that's good at their shtick and is not really credited for it is Heath Slater. Randy Orton RKO'd Heath Slater through a table while Heath Slater was eating at catering. Basically, this just reminded me of what me and my friends used to do back in high school at the lunch table. Is just RKO each other. So the count to the RKO is now 5. Randy Orton promised us that he will RKO everybody he sees in the back. And before Seth Rollins, it was just 4 people. He RKO'd 4 people, and that just makes Randy Orton look like an idiot. Now it is time for our main event. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to be honest with everyone, I did not see this match. By this time, I completely dozed off and I fell asleep. I only saw the beginning and the ending of this match. I really didn't see the middle. I predicted it to be a pretty damn good match, but this show was just uncontrollably boring. It was just horrible. After that whole Miz and Mizdow thing, I just couldn't take it anymore, so I just went to sleep. and I tried my hardest to wake up before the match ended. Basically, after the match, Rollins beats Dolph Ziggler clean with the distraction, at least to keep Ziggler strong and not beating them clean all the time like they were before. Basically, he starts bragging about how he beat Randy Orton. I think Triple H cut him off or something like that. I was half asleep when this was going on. But what I do remember is that Kane was coming out looking like he was about to beat the crap out of Seth Rollins. And J&J Security tried to stop him. But then after that, Seth Rollins called for the cage to be down. Before the cage lowered, he got stuck. Randy Orton slithered in there and delivered an RKO to Seth Rollins, making that his 5th RKO of the night, even though he promised that he's going to RKO everyone in sight. Yeah. And that was Raw, everybody. This show was terrible. It was boring. It was everything you could possibly imagine. This was not a good show at all, and I'm jealous of anybody who's listening to this right now and didn't see the show, because the show is horrible. Extreme Rules is going to be in Chicago. I'm assuming that they're going to put this shit together, because they do realize that Chicago will eat this show alive if they do not deliver. But they have the talent to do so. I think that the Extreme Rules is going to deliver more than the Raws back then have, because so far this has been one of the worst years of Raw. We only had one good Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. Other than that, every Raw has been consistently getting worse as the weeks go by. So that was my Raw review, guys. Boring. That's all I have to say. Remember to follow me on Twitter at @TheSmark for my live reactions of any pro wrestling show I watch, NXT, Raw, sometimes TNA Impact and SmackDown, and I will have Extreme Rules predictions posted tomorrow. Make sure to check that out, and please support this channel by simply liking the video and subscribe. So until we meet again, guys, stay gold and have a good one.